Okay, hello. This is Maureen Doss, the virtual workhorse, and I'm here with Katie Simms today. She is another VA out in the UK, and we're both mompreneurs that deal with the struggle of being an entrepreneur and having a successful business and taking care of our children and being present for them. And so we're just going to talk a little bit today about those things. And so, Katie, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your business and your kiddos.
Okay. Well, hello. I'm Katie, and I have 3 children. I have Jack, who is 4, Freddie, who is 2, and Ivy, who is 9 months old. We live in a caravan, traveling,
Wow.
traveling the UK. So my virtual assistant journey has been quite recent, I suppose to say. I've worked in administration now for 7 years since I left school. But after leaving my previous job due to childcare commitments, I was looking for something that would give me the flexibility and the variance. It was that was definitely needed with the 2 kids.
Right.
At that point. So that's when I stumbled across virtual assistant work. It was just completely a side hustle for me. I was just like, oh, this is great. Never planned for it to go this big. And last year I was on and off with maternity leave, and then we decided to sell our house as well. So that we left last year, and that's when things really kicked off. With the VA work. Obviously we knew we had to work while we were in the caravan, and that is a perfect position to allow us to continue doing that. So yeah, that's really where it was born from. There was no plan for it to become this big. I was just like, oh, I'll just do a few hours a week. But yeah, now it's sort of become, so it is still just a few hours a week, but it's a lot more clients now, and it's a lot more professional, so to say. There is a website and all the best bits that come with running your own business. So yeah, it suddenly came from nowhere, basically.
Right. Well, I love that, and I just love how you guys are just making the life that you want, and being an example for your children, because they will see that. They'll see that. Well, tell us how what's the struggle been between trying to be there, raise your kids, be present for them, but also try to have this successful business?
Yeah, I think especially for me is that with the kids being so young, and that we're obviously all in the caravan together, when they see me working, they don't really understand why I need to work, and they don't really understand like that when I'm working, that I'm caring for them as well. Like when they grow up, they will understand it, and I know that. But I'm a bit. What I find so difficult is knowing that they don't understand it just yet, and they're a bit like, well, why is mummy working? Why does mummy not want to sit down and and watch me play with my cars or something like that? So yeah, that I find that really difficult. I mean, I could be completely making this up in my head. This is the problem with mum guilt, is that you do just take things and then you like go away with them. Like you will make up like this whole fantasy in your head that your kids simply hate you because you've been on the laptop for an hour. But that is never ever true. But yeah, I'm very good at making things up in my head, but then I can sort of bring myself back down to reality, and that is what allows me to work, is when I bring myself back down to reality.
Yeah. And so what do you think helps you do that? Is there something that you do on a continual basis that kind of helps you deal with that, or is it the thought of the future, like the life that you're building for them? Or
yeah, it is a bit of both, because I look at it and I see when I'm working, and then I think about, well, when they do get a little bit older, they are going to look at their mom and their dad, and they are going to be so proud of what we did for them.
Mm-hmm.
When we actually left to go to live in the caravan, our plan was to actually find somewhere better to live, because where we were living was right in the middle of the city, and
Mm-hmm.
we didn't think that there was really anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this has just enabled a lot more opportunity for them. So I know that when they grow up, that they will look back and they'll be like, oh, like, thank God mum and dad did that for us.
Yes.
But for me, I find at the minute, I find a lot that helps me with getting over the mum guilt is actually writing it down. Because it when you're thinking it in your head, it's very hard to sort of take check.
Right.
Your thoughts can run away with you.
Right.
And I was finding that happening to me quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now if it ever gets too much, I will just give myself a brain dump and I will write it all down. And then
I love that.
Yeah, I'll write it down to what the bad thoughts are, but then I'll write down all the positives that go with it as well.
Yes.
And it sort of just makes me look at it and I think, no, it's okay what I'm doing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And for you to have that, always remember like why you're doing this.
Yes.
That helps me a lot,
Yeah.
Doing better for our families. And I mean, this is amazing, the life that you're being able to give them right now, being with them, traveling, your husband's there. I think you told me earlier, and maybe you can talk about this for a second, that when we had the lockdowns with COVID and you guys were all pushed together all the time, that it was actually better for you guys. Right?
Yeah,
When you hear of a lot of people that were like, oh, we had too much family time.
Yeah, I know. So many people that we speak to now will say to us like, oh my God, like, do you not want to kill each other for like being around each other all the time? But for us, it has been the complete opposite, because now we can give ourselves time. When we have the children, we watch the children, and the other person can go off and do something without feeling bad, and we're always there to sort of help each other out. So just for example, in the mornings, it's absolutely mental trying to get everybody ready. Like if I'm going to do a bit of work, everyone needs their teeth brushing, everyone needs their clothes putting on, and it can just all be like blah, blah, like 100 things going on at once.
Yeah.
But with us both here, I never get to that place where there is so much pressure and you get angry and you lose your patience, because if you do, you can just walk out and he's always here. And it's vice versa. The way it works, we are sort of on that wavelength where if it's too much, we can just go, and we're here to talk to each other, to help each other, and to communicate, rather than him being off at work and then me being off at work and then just going, how was your day? Really bad. How was your day? Really bad. And just venting at each other.
Yes.
Because it weren't helping either of us. It was just getting us to the point where we were a bit like, we were just arguing with each other about things that weren't even each other's fault. We were just like, well, my job's worse than yours. No, my job's worse than yours. So it's brought us back to it is nice to have time to just sort of be with each other.
Right. Well, I love that. And I loved your tip about writing it down. I also, when I spoke to another mompreneur the other day, that was also her go-to to kind of deal with her mom guilt, was journaling, in the morning or throughout the day, when, like you said, it can just, if you leave it in your head, it can just kind of build up and the story grows, and we kind of can't contain it, and we just kind of keep punishing ourselves, when really what we're doing is for them.
Yeah.
And they will even, I could see how it would be hard for you with yours so little, because mine as teenagers, I can set some boundaries, when mom's office door is closed, right? I'm in a meeting and you have to wait. And your kiddos kind of don't understand things like that. So I could see having the younger ones could be a little more tricky to appease them. So thankfully you do have your husband with you, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I am so happy that we got to chat today and talk a little bit about the struggles and the mom guilt, trying to be a mompreneur. But I am so thankful for your story. And I think that it can help other moms see that they can do this. They can build the family and the business of their dreams.
Definitely.
And it may not always be easy, but the end result is going to be amazing, right?
Yeah.
And along the way, the journey is going to be, there's going to be ups and downs, but it's going to be fun.
Definitely. Definitely. I would just, if I was to advise anybody now who is a mom who really wants to do something, really wants to do something, but I mean, I've had all the thoughts of going, well, we've got no time, the thoughts that they're too young, like I should be putting them first, and I should just wait, just go for it and do it, because at first it can be hard because you're sort of trying to work out where your boundaries lie, like but I've been there, like even now still I can just be a bit like, oh, I'll just go on my phone and do a bit of work, but just set yourself certain times, because as much as we think our kids don't understand, and especially with me, like when I'm on a call with somebody and you'll just get one of them come walking along the iPad because it's locked itself and they'll want me to open it, and I'm like just go away. But if you just like just do it, that is basically my message, because there is nothing better, and it sort of gives you a bigger feeling of happiness when you have done a day's work, and then you're like, well, I'm not actually going to work tomorrow because I'm going to go out and I'm going to do something completely different. It's different to the 9 to 5 though, because you're obviously, but it's just go for it, because it will work out. It will. As much as we can say it won't, it's like you can tell yourself that it won't, or it will work out. It always does.
It will. Yeah. I love that. I love your advice. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to more mom talks with maybe you again and other mompreneurs that are dealing with the struggle between the two and the mom guilt. And together we can all take our tips and our advice and put them together and support each other.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much.